Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Anna and I'm a little bit spooky. And today we're kind of playing with a special palette. Kind of playing. We are playing with a special palette. We're playing with the GRWM and Swamp Queen palette. I know this came out a long time ago, but the little guardian angel of this channel, Chandra, who just keeps coming through in the clutch lately, she had watched my tag video where I was talking about FOMO over a palette, and I mentioned the GRWM Swamp Queen palette just because there was something special about it. And a week later, it showed up at my doorstep. She found one, I think, on Macari or somewhere that had just been lightly swatched, and I sanitized this little puppy, and we were playing with it today and creating this soft, dusky summer look. I don't know, it's just a look I wanted to create, and I kind of had a little bit of vision. So I was thinking about how after a storm and the clouds clear and the sun's coming out, but it's sunset at the same time, and the kind of the shadowy colors. That was my thinking with the look. Anyway, we're playing Swamp Queen palette. We're going to talk about GRWM and how she was quite the inspiration to me. Love her so much. We're just gonna talk about some random stuff. I somehow started a debate in my head while I'm doing my false lashes off camera, which I didn't even end up doing the false lashes, and riled myself up and got all feisty in my own head at myself, debating a fictional person. Do you do that? Let me know down below if you do that. Otherwise, also let me know down below, how do you feel about GRWM? Did you pick up this palette when it came out? It's been out quite a few years. I know. But I really wanted to play with it and talk about it because it's special. It moved me, okay? I felt emotions over it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video and roll that beautiful bean footage. So today I am getting ready just to go grab some dinner tonight with friends, and we're still like in the process of helping my friend move. So I may end up getting hot and sweaty at some point this evening, but first, I'm gonna sit down and do a little bit of glam, and my thinking is a dusky summer night kind of vibe. I don't know, but we're playing with a special palette today. This is the GRWM and Tarte Swamp Queen palette. If you watch my videos, you know that I did a tag a while back, and one of the questions was a palette that you have FOMO over, and I said the Tarte GRWM Swamp Queen palette was one that I wanted so bad, and I think I just didn't have the money for it when it came out, and therefore I never got it. Well, our little guardian angel of the channel here, Chandra, the one who came through with the Hocus Pocus palettes, my best friend here, she done came through with the Swamp Queen palette. This showed up in my mailbox a couple of weeks ago. She's like, look out for a package. Okay. She found it. She tracked one down. One that had been swatched, and that was it. So I sterilized her, and here we are, ready to play. So yeah, I was very touched. I was moved. See, anybody watched Beavis and Butthead, and it was like, you were moved. You cried. That still makes me laugh every time I think about it. I was moved. It was just kind of good timing because I was having a bad day and this showed up, and it was like, yeah, I needed this. But I haven't really had a chance to sit down and do a video with it since. I have played with it a couple of times, and I have played with this palette before. Previously, I had borrowed my sister's palette and had reviewed it on my blog back when it first came out, but I only did like 3 looks, and I had to give it back to my sister because it's her palette kind of thing, and I didn't want to keep it. It was something that I just wanted to own for myself because I love Bunny. Anyway, let's go ahead and just jump into the look before I sit here and ramble at you too long. Before I prime my eyes with my Sigma eye base. I didn't turn all my lights on. A little congested today with the allergies, and it's so hot. It's just been really rainy, and it stirred up allergies. So here we are. My eyes feel kind of irritated. So did not get to sleep until 3 a.m. last night because I drank my matcha way too late in the day apparently, and just laid there. So I got up, took a shower, washed my hair, and here we are. Anyway, I'm gonna get started on this look before I deep dive into talking about Bunny or GRWM. I'm gonna start with the brow bone as per usual. I really need to give all my brushes a bath tonight. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna wash brushes. I've just been like busy to where I'm forgetting to do things busy. The first shade I'm going to go into is Big Baby. Let me know down below if you get these references are you a fan of Grav3yardgirl? Do you watch her? I have watched her since I discovered her probably 8 years ago. I don't think there's a video that she's put out that I really haven't watched. I enjoyed even just listening to her, like her unboxing videos. Even if I don't care about what she's doing, I put them on kind of like in the background, but most of the time I'm usually interested in what she's up to because she makes me smile. She makes me laugh. I relate to her so hard on so many things, like the anxiety stuff, and just when she's open about that kind of thing. Girl, I feel you. I feel you. And she was a huge kind of inspiration to me to do YouTube because I'm like, there's somebody who's kind of like me doing YouTube that's similar personality, similar lifestyle, you know. We do have quite a similar, I guess, way of living. I'm taking Big Baby around the brow bone just to have a nice base shade. Kind of set that down because I haven't set down the rest of my lids. I just forgot. But I just feel like, you know, there's a lot in common there. Similar taste in movies and that, and similar taste in aesthetics and home decor. Except I'm not into baby dolls. I'm terrified of old dolls. That's the opposite. But like as far as antiques go, I love antiques. Just not old baby dolls. So she can have those. But I enjoy her content about them. And you know, I'm not somebody who enjoys spooky content very often because I'm a chicken. But her level of like spooky stuff, I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. But I originally, back in the day when she first started doing, you know, when she was doing her ghost hunting and stuff, I was into it too. And it was like, we both kind of moved away from it at the same time, kind of for the same reasons. So it's like, yeah, it's getting a little too deep for me. I don't think I don't want ghosts. I'm gonna jump into haunting. How appropriate that's the next shade we go into because that's what I'm talking about. And we take that through the transition and kind of start to sculpt out. Yeah, anyway. I've enjoyed her content since then. Oh, another thing I wish I got was her hair dryer that looks like an alligator. I also quite relate to the whole swamp aesthetic. I'm pretty swamp witchy myself. I always got my swamp witch hair going, just about. And yeah, I relate very hard to her. I kind of understand her. A lot of times when she talks about like certain anxiety things, I'm like, girl, I feel you. I get it. Yep. And she just, despite, you know, having like anxiety or something, she can come on camera and make other people feel good. And I think she's tried to create a very kind, loving community. And I've always enjoyed her content. To me, watching her videos, like whether it's the Banana Pepper channel that she has where she does just more kind of chill, not really structured videos, more like just unboxings and stuff, or her vlogs, or just even her, you know, does this thing really work type videos. It feels like hanging out with an old friend watching her at this point. You know, how she just doesn't care about trends. She does her own thing, and I'm like, girl, I'm right there with you. Just do her own things and stay in our lane, unbothered and moisturized. Yeah, so I'm just building up haunting just to really sculpt out. This is a very like taupey contour shade. And considering this palette came out quite some time ago, I have been really impressed with the fact the shadows have stayed beautifully pigmented and are performing really well, because I know this is technically an expired palette at this point. But everything has performed great, and it still has that lovely vanilla smell that Tarte eyeshadows do. I've always been a fan of Tarte's formula. I've just not always been into like their shades. Like I love the Tarte's Pro palette. Dear God, that's one of my favorite palettes. I always thought they had a beautiful formula. It just, you know, the palettes were never that exciting. This one, these are colors that I love. Like, I couldn't have built a better palette than what she did right here. It's got the golds, it's got the cool tone kind of mauve shades I love. And I haven't done a look using those types of shades in a long time, so that's what I wanted to kind of get into here today. Yeah, I think that her color choices in this were so perfectly her, yet something that's very universal at the same time that a lot of people could enjoy. I don't know if this palette was a commercial success or anything like that. I have no clue. When it came out, I wasn't really paying attention to that sort of thing. And I feel like it was a different kind of market then as well. But I just remember being very excited for her, getting to collab and do this palette. And like, yes. But Bunny is somebody that I can sit down and watch with my husband, and he enjoys her content as well. Like, he loves her, especially like her these things really work videos. He will laugh so hard at them with me, for goofing around doing something, and thoroughly enjoy them as much as I do. All right, let's take Mancat. Oh, Mancat. We're gonna start building up the outer corner with this shade on a little bit more of a pointed blending brush. This is a tapered blending from Sonia Kashuk. And we're gonna just start to build this in this outer corner here. What I like about these purples in this palette is that they're very like muted, and they're not really purples, they're mauves. And they're very like smoky, but light and just kind of dusty in tone, not texture. But I remember coming across Bunny years and years ago. They're going, oh, this is my kind of girl right here. She's a country girl like me that's a weirdo. I was like, hell yeah. She just seems like a very kind person. I love Vlogoween when it comes time for the Halloween content. The treat bags she does, and just the fact that she like make these huge treat bags to give out to her community. And yeah, I just thought this was so kind. That's the kind of thing I would love to do, especially if I had like the funds and the reach to do something like that. That's the kind of stuff I like. I'm sure I could figure out a way to do that kind of thing. Yep, these shades still perform as lovely as I thought they did the first time I ever used the palette. I also liked that this was such a nice complete palette. It felt like you could get some versatility out of it, and you could do your whole, you know, blush, contour, or blush, bronzer, highlight anyway. Not really a contour shade, and the bronzer shade in here isn't my ideal bronzer shade, but it's something I can make work. I'm so rambly lately. Have I forgotten what I'm doing? I feel like I've forgotten how to film. Unless I feel drowsy. You know when you have allergies, you just feel like kind of sleepy, like drowsy feeling? That's how I feel today. I was swatching on the side of my hand, and it was liquid lipsticks though that's stuck there. There was 2 lipsticks, I believe, that came out with this little collection with Bunny. There was a red lipstick and like a mauve shade, and I think they were liquid lipstick formulas. So my sister didn't buy those, but I had shades that looked like it. So I remember when I did my little initial review of this palette way back on my blog, I had used shades that looked similar. Okay, that's so nice and just smoky. Like you can't really tell a discernible color, but it's definitely not like, it's not purple, but it's not gray. It's just a nice shadowy shade, and I think it's pretty. So I'm gonna take a little flat brush now. Okay, stop yawning. It's such a thoughtful thing that Chandra got me this. I was like, man, I would have never thought about looking for this, seeing if it was still available. I'm taking Uncommon, just like uncommon objects. I want to explore that store so bad. And we're gonna put this on the lid and let that kind of float into Mancat. I've got a pimple right here. Can you see that, like it's like swollen right there? Oh my goodness. I just noticed that it's like swollen all around. Oh, that's a pretty color. That has like a little bit of a gold, it's like gold sheen to it, but it's a satiny taupe, but there's like a little bit of a hint of a warmth comes through with it. Very pretty. I mean, the shades in this palette aren't like, you know, crazy unique or anything. They're pretty common shades, but I just like the arrangement of them and then being put together in a palette. I think Bunny was very thoughtful with what she included in here. It's definitely a palette that I think suits her very well. I think that's probably one of the hardest challenges with doing a collab, is creating a palette that is your style and colors that you enjoy, but while still trying to make it universally appealing and can work for a multitude of skin tones. Because it's going to become a bit of a challenge, right? Because, you know, if you're designing the palette that you have in mind for yourself, it's not going to suit everyone. So I think that has to be one of the hardest things, is to try to strike that balance in a palette and try to make it universal while still having your aesthetic and your color choices reflect in there. I could see definitely like releasing different iterations of a palette these days, which I think brands are doing that, right, with their collabs. I've seen a few where they have, you know, multiple palettes that suit different different skin tones. Which I think that is really the only way to kind of solve for that, right? And it's a great idea, like Sydney Grace, where they do like the different iterations of a palette with deeper shades, and some have lighter shades, but still the same palette. It's just the depth level is different. I think that is genius. That palette with Temptalia, oh my god, it's beautiful. Or palettes rather. I want all of them and all the... I think I would actually want the deepest, maybe, because I enjoy really dark eyeshadows. But again, maybe I would like the lighter iteration because I also would want the transition tones. But those jewel tones, I mean, they scream Temptalia, because I followed, again, somebody else I followed for years, since the beginning of me getting into makeup. She was like the resource, and she still is. And I know she likes those kind of shades, just from watching how she does her makeup and, you know, learning someone's preferences over watching their vlog for so long, or blog for so long. And I think that palette just suits her perfectly. But man, Sydney Grace is really, really killing it with that concept of the multiple iterations of the same palette. I think that is absolutely genius, and it is really the best way to cater to everyone. And I love that. It doesn't feel gimmicky, it feels authentic and like a just really good idea. And I've seen that, you know, with face palettes, where there's the multiple, you know, iterations of it or whatever, you know, multiple versions, but I've never seen that with eye palettes until Sydney Grace, and I still have not tried anything from them. So they're on my list of like brands to try this year. I think I've kind of shuffled around and decided, yeah, I don't really care about trying this brand so much anymore. And I made that, you know, video at the beginning of the year. And I think Sydney Grace is going to be bumped up on that list. Kaleidos is still on that list. Kaleidos is really the one that I really want to try. Sydney Grace and Rachel Diffie. I'm just building up Mancat a little bit, just really kind of getting smoky and dark with it. Very sculpted. I like it. Oh, I was sitting cross-legged. Oh, I want to take a little bit of hashtag SFS, which I believe, if I remember correctly, means Swamp Family Strong. I think. I can't remember. I'm going to put that towards the inner part of the lid. Like right in here to bring a little bit of gold in. Just like some golden sunshine peeping through the clouds. Think of one of those days that you had a nice afternoon shower and then the clouds are clearing and the dusk is coming on, and it's just this beautiful sunset of mauve purples and golds and a little bit pink in there. That's what I'm picturing, because we had a sunset like that the other day and it's like, God, that was beautiful. I wish I had taken pictures of it. Every time I take pictures though of like the sky, they never translate beautifully as they are in real life. I just suck at taking them, or my camera does. Speaking of like dusk, ColourPop has that palette called Lust for Dusk. And every time I see it, I'm like, ooh, I want that. But then I look at it, I'm like, those are just the most muted, kind of boring shades. You don't need this palette. There's something about it that makes you want it. I don't know what it is. And every time I see it, I immediately get a hymn song in my head. Because there's, was it Heartache Every Moment by the band Hymn? There's a line in it that says, it's like, dusk to dusk, or lust to dusk. And it just puts the melody in my head, and I start singing that to myself, even though that's not the name of the palette. It's close enough. And I just kind of, something about that palette makes me want it. And I look at it, I'm like, girl, you don't need this palette. You really don't. But I mean, it's not like it's expensive. If I came across it in Ulta, I would probably pick it up. Can you not? Can you not buy another palette right now? You just bought a $129 Natasha Denona palette. I don't think you need a ColourPop palette right now. You know? Taking one more of uncommon complaint I have. It's just a very minor complaint about palettes in general, is when the inside is metallic and there's fonts written on it. It's so hard for me to read because like the reflections of lights off of it, and I like to read the shade names. Even if I'm not doing a tutorial, I've always just been that way, where I like to see what shade I'm using, the name of it. It doesn't make any sense, does it? But I just like to know the name of the shade that I'm using, okay? I pulled a Marc Jacobs liner in this kind of taupey purple shade that looks really similar, and I feel like would tie in really well. I don't know the shade of this liner in particular. It was in part of their little cherry collection that they put out around Christmas time. If I can find the shade name, I will have it on the screen. I don't think this color is going to work on the upper part of the lid because I wanted to put this in the waterline. Let me just see real quick. Yeah, it's not quite enough to put there, but I'm going to put this one in the waterline. I think on the top, I'll just do a little bit of a black liner, just a tiny bit. Let's see, where's my Marc Jacobs blacker? This is my favorite right now. I've got like 10 gel liner pencils open, and I get fixated on one, and that's the only one I want to use. I'm just doing like a little bit of definition right at the lash line. I'm gonna go ahead and do my face now, just like complexion, you know, concealer, contour, foundation, powder, all that, primer. Don't need to go through all, name off all the steps. No, everything I use will be linked down below if I don't mention it. And yeah, I'll see y'all in just a minute. My goodness, I might go take a nap in between. I'm so drowsy. Okay, and we're back. I just went ahead and did my face makeup. I'm trying out a new powder today. It is the e.l.f. Halo Glow powder, and I think it's freaking beautiful. I think this is a gorgeous powder. Like, it looks really pretty on the skin. I'll keep you updated. I'm probably gonna review it because I want to kind of deep dive into it, but just threw it on today, and I'm like, damn, that's nice. Did I need another powder? No, I have so many powders. That's what took me so long to buy it, because I talked myself out of it because I'm like, girl, you're still trying to pan like 10 powders. Please use up what you have already and quit buying more powder. All right, anyway, let's do this lower lash line. I'm gonna take a little smudge brush. I'm gonna go straight into Mancat and just run that along here. Kind of tie it into that upper lash line. I feel like a piece of like dry skin right there or something going on my eyelid, and it's driving me crazy. Or that was like a little pimple. That's something right there. All right, just some light definition under there. We'll take a little bit of Uncommon, same brush, kind of just check it right there. All right, and let's go back into hashtag SFS and get that inner part. I'll pull it across just a little more like that. Just highlight the tear duct really well, and my little, I don't know, like curve in my eye, lower lash line. I don't know what I'm doing. And let me take a little bit of a smaller brush here. I'm gonna take the highlighter shade from this palette called Gator Wings, and we're going to highlight just right in this innermost part right there. Oh, that's so vibrant. That's a bright highlight, dude. You can definitely tell what year this palette came out just judging by how bright that highlight is. It's like highlighters have definitely changed formula-wise. They're not quite as metallic anymore. They're more skin-like these days. They're a little less pure metallic to them. They've definitely become a little more refined. All right, I'm gonna take just a little tiny bit of that on my highlighter brush here, and we're gonna go ahead and highlight the face. Just gonna dust a light amount right here. That is still a beautiful, beautiful face highlight. And this brush is kind of floppy, so it's not like applying a ton of product at one go, not packing it on or anything. Yeah, that's still a really pretty highlight. All right, and let's take the blush, which is called Does This Thing Really Work? We're gonna put that on the cheeks. Oh, I forgot to bronze. Let me go ahead and just do the bronzer real quick. Get that done. It is called Sweet Tea, and it is actually the color of Sweet Tea. Like, that name is so perfect. Take a little. It's very pigmented, so I'm gonna take just a tiny bit for my really pale ass. I have got a slight tan going, very, very slight, as in I have to wear a different shade of foundation than I normally wear, but yeah. I'm just gonna kind of warm up right out here, just very lightly. This contour is, or this bronzer is very kind of orangey, well, color Sweet Tea, and not a color that I personally would reach for myself very often, but with a light hand it does work nicely. Ooh, I got a bronzed forehead. Ooh. Oh goodness. I'm gonna take my powder brush. Gotta maybe take that down just a notch. I'm not used to like bronzing my forehead a whole lot, so I'm just, it's probably not even much there. It's just me going, oh. Because it's not something I do very often. I'm kind of trying to creep into that and be a bronzer girl a little more. I'm getting there. I also am getting some tanning drops. I Got some through OpuLUST that I'm going to be trying out, so I'm kind of excited about that. Oh, I forgot one of the finishing touches I want to do. Before we do, well, shit, let's go ahead and do blush before I finish what I'm doing. Before I lose my train of thought here. But yeah, I'm going to be trying out some tanner drops I'm kind of excited about. I've never used tanning drops before. These, it sounds like you just mix them with some moisturizer and it'll gradually develop. Kind of like I guess one of those gradually developing moisturizers, like from Jergens or something, which I've always been a fan of. If I wanted some color, I would just use one of those because they're very graceful. They don't really look streaky. You get a little play with those. All right, let's take the blush, which is called Does This Thing Really Work? And we are going to blush up the face. Again, this one's quite pigmented, so I'm going to tap off a good bit and just hit right out here. It's a very rosy, dusty rose blush, and with like some gold glitters within. It's kind of pretty. I like how everything's got glitter in it in this palette. It's just so something special about it. Like, they're not going to show on your face really. You might get occasional glitter here or there. This was the height of the glitter pans, you know, of mattes with glitters era in makeup. That is a pretty blush shade. I love a good blushy cheek. I'm not one like too big into like pinky blushes, but I do like a dusty rose blush or like a mauvey blush. But I'm normally all about those peachy tones. This one's pretty. This is a pretty color. Ties in really well with the eyes. Okay, now what I was saying that I forgot was the Marc Jacobs eyeliner, which I will have linked and hopefully listed on the screen and below if I can find it. But it's just a really neat kind of a dusty lavender mauve shade. And I'm going to take that in the waterline. I don't know if I can do this on camera because sometimes I just need two hands to get into my waterline because I'm not good at this. Ooh, pretty. Yeah, that gave a nice kind of dusty definition right there in the lash line. I'm just going to close my eyes. I just went for it like this. I hate putting stuff in my waterline. Very pretty color though. Mancat here, and can just do a little smudgy action. Alright, now that is the eyeshadow done, and we're done with the palette. Alright, now to finish things up, I'm going to do a little mascara. I'm going to use the Lancôme Lash-Lifting mascara and maybe throw on some falsies, because I feel like falsies would just really pull this look together. Let me see which ones I got here hanging out. So I skipped out on falsies because I got aggravated with said falsies, so I just have on the Lancôme Lash-Lifting, which isn't a bad mascara. I just think it's like one to write home about kind of thing. It's just it's a solid mascara. It's just not like life-changing, you know? Anyway, as I was fighting with my lashes, I started having a mental debate with myself and like full-on like argument and going off on a fictional person in my head over eyelashes and why I wear eyelashes personally or put on falsies and all of that. I've got a good little, that's gonna be in a coffee and makeup video because I have a subject that I want to get into and I'm gonna get real feisty about it. This is a trivial matter that gets deeper, but it starts with a joke about eyelashes or lash extensions, falsies, and it kind of was snowballing in my head to something else and then something else another friend said the other day, and I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are kind of subject, and just the ego. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that another day today because I can't, but I didn't riled myself up enough in my head. Do you ever do that? Just sit there like doing like a menial task, like you're like putting on mascara or something, or you know, do just something you don't have to really think about, and you start like arguing with yourself in your head and creating a fake scenario debate. I do that a lot. A lot about a lot of subjects, and then I'm just like, girl, shh. Alright, let's do lips. I'm gonna go in with Pat McGrath in 1995. I think this is what this is. I was just having like a mental debate over false lashes in my head that was leading to a deeper subject about why we do the things we do and whether, you know, and men thinking that we do it for them. Yeah, I'm putting on the false lashes for men. Sure. Sure. Sure, Jan. I mean, the ego. To think that. I get frustrated. It was like some joke. You could tell somebody else was just repeating it. They heard somebody else say. And wasn't even an original thought on their part. That's my one subject that I can really sit there and argue about, because it's one I actually know about, because I am a woman who enjoys makeup. I'm not doing this for a dude. I'm doing this for me. Like, my husband doesn't care if I have falsies on. Get out of here. Alright, Don Draper, get out of here with that kind of thinking, you know? Anyway, here's the finished look. I'm not going to get too feisty. I'm just going to shush. Look complete, makeup done. What do you think? I had a good time playing with the Swamp Queen palette. I've done angered myself and got myself all worked up. Jeez. Calm down. Calm down. Goddamn. But I swear if I hear one more sexist thing today, I'm gonna go off. That simple as that. I'm gonna lay it out. I'm ready to be like, you're wrong, kind of thing on the subjects. That's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. And so I can stop mentally debating myself over a whole nother subject. Anyway, I had a great time sitting down playing with the Swamp Queen palette, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection after all these years, and just to own it. It just feels good. It was just one of those palettes that had gotten away, and I just always thought about it in the back of my mind. It was just like, I miss that palette. I wish I had gotten it. I should have bought it, because it wasn't really that expensive. I think it was like around 40 bucks when it came out. But at the time, I didn't have $40 extra to spend on makeup. I'm gonna be real with you. That was like a big purchase to me then. This palette would have been a big investment to me, and it's nice to be able to have it now. And I would never thought to go look for it online, and thanks, Chandra. Thank you. It really is kind of special. Or it really is special to me. I was moved. You made me feel emotions. Gross. How dare you make me feel my own feelings. Ew. But anyways, I think the sentiment in this palette is beautiful. On the mirror on the inside, Bunny has written on here, it says, believe in yourself, love yourself, and embrace your individuality. And I think that is one of the most amazing sentiments you could put on a makeup palette, because that's what we should all be doing, is believing in ourselves, loving ourselves, and embracing our individuality and what makes us different, what makes us unique and fun humans. If we're all the same, this would be such a boring world. But I think those are beautiful words to live by, that you should always embrace who you are and love yourself, because in the end, all you got is you. So anyway, I really love the aesthetic of this palette, obviously. I mean, the Gator, Swamp Queen, come on. This is a amazing palette though, and if you come across it and it speaks to you, go ahead and get it, because it's just fun to have. It's a really good everyday palette, honestly. You know, it's not like over the top crazy colors. I think by today's standards, if this palette came out, you know, people would be like, oh, that's such a boring, you know, Anne palette or something. But when this came out, it wasn't that way. This was before the market was flooded. And I still think the colors in here go really well together. And it was a nice color family she built. And yeah, I enjoy it. I can really see Bunny's spirit in this palette, which I love. I'm really happy to own it. So yeah, that is all for today. Just sitting down playing with that palette and doing a look. And I have picked up a few new e.l.f. products I'm going to be doing a video with coming up soon, where we're just going to talk about some new things from e.l.f. I think I want to get hold of that putty bronzer because it looks amazing. And yeah, I'm going to try to get that filmed in the next few days. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you for hanging out with me, and let me know down below, do you watch Bunny? Did you get this palette? Let me know how you feel about all that down below, and let's talk about it. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.